Hey everyone, Akash here from the research team at Pure. I'm at Token 2049 Singapore, and I'm here with an OG who is?
Dylan Grabowski from the Neo ecosystem.
So for most of us who've been along for a very long time, people know Neo as an OG chain back from 2016, 2014. That is Ethereum days when Ethereum was started as well. And can you tell me more about what you do at Neo and what Neo does in general for the uninitiated?
Sure, so let's start with Neo. So Neo is an OG blockchain that's been around since 2014. It's an alt L1. Its really big claim to fame was pioneering the Byzantine Fault Tolerance consensus mechanism, which Binance Chain later integrated when they launched their chain, and which the Cosmos SDK integrated when they launched their chain. Neo also kind of pioneered the dual token mechanism, so you vote with Neo and you earn gas, which is the utility token. So being around for so many years, we've seen a lot of lessons learned and have implemented it into each iteration of a new version of the chain. So 2014 to 2017 was the legacy version. 2021 we launched N3, which was the second version of the chain, integrating native Oracle support, native distributed storage, migrating from the UTXO model to an asset-based model. And then most recently we launched Neo X, which is an EVM sidechain, so that we can meet Solidity developers where they're at and really be able to integrate the ability for inter-chain, cross-chain interactions using our own technology. So Neo's kind of like an OG that has had to adapt over the years to continue to be a thing. So what I do is I got into the ecosystem as a content creator in January 2018. I started writing articles and then grew to host a podcast and started talking about Neo, and now we're protocol agnostic and speak about a lot of other different blockchains and blockchain projects. But within the Neo ecosystem, I've also grown my role to wear a lot of hats. Here at this event today, we actually are distributing these cards, which are non-fungible items. They're physical goods that are cryptographically bound to digital representations. So a developer community within the ecosystem built these, and so we actually evangelize this technology within and outside the ecosystem. I'm a voting member on a community funding DAO within the ecosystem. If you're a new dev and you just want resources and to get pointed in the right direction, I'm often a forward-facing individual on crypto Twitter that people reach out to just so they can learn where to go and who to talk to start building in the Neo ecosystem. So I started as a content creator, but I've really become a jack of all trades and filled in a lot of gaps for technical folks, non-technical folks, token holders, builders, and everyone in between.
Got it. I specifically wanted to talk about the developer side. You mentioned that this is one of the things that a developer ecosystem or community within your ecosystem created it, and you have built this out and are varying it and are distributing it to folks at your booth. How do you work with and support developers within the Neo ecosystem, both on the Alt L1 side and now on the Neo X side?
Yeah, so I think developers come into ecosystems through multiple different ways. There are foundation-led hackathons that can bring in developers. There are interested individuals that come from the grassroots. And then there are paid teams that come to build on the Neo ecosystem. So I see developers from like three different branches. Grassroots, folks who are building projects but exploring different chains, maybe through hackathons. And then there are just the teams that were hired to build a product within an ecosystem. So for someone like me, I find that I provide the most support for a grassroots dev. Someone who was researching blockchains and they stumbled on Neo because it might have faster throughput or cheaper fees, or they like that they can compile code in a native language that they speak, be it Python, C# or Golang, and they didn't necessarily want to learn Solidity. So for those types of folks, I feel like I, as a community contributor, can provide more value to them because I just know the ins and outs of the ecosystem. I know where to provide them for micro grants. Maybe even our team, which runs a validator node in the ecosystem, can provide them with a micro grant. I can help them write a grant to get funded, things of this nature. For someone who's coming in from a hackathon, the support that we provide for those developers is we'll write articles about them, maybe we'll even host them on a podcast, so we really get the word out about what they're building. And then the same thing for a project that was hired by the foundation. We're just going to basically provide free advertising for them, writing objective, fact-based, non-sensational articles about what they're working on and what they're building. So I'm not quite sure if that necessarily answered your questions. Okay, yeah, because there's just a lot of different ways that a developer can come into an ecosystem, and if you're talking with like an OG community member, they probably know all the folks at the foundation, they probably know all the little nooks and crannies for where funding might be available and other sorts of resources. So I guess maybe my unsolicited piece of advice for any developer who's looking at a new ecosystem, find the guy on Twitter who's been writing about that project for 5+ years, because they're probably more tuned in than maybe a BD rep that is working at the foundation level.
Thank you so much for speaking with us. I think any developer who's watching this really knows where to go and whom to speak with and what to build specifically. I think you've done a great service to developers, and thank you for this. Enjoy the rest of your stay here in Singapore.
Yeah, thanks for the time. I appreciate it.